produce spider webs for body armor. We are being engineered. Our water is being manipulated. We're being electromagnetically manipulated. It's all admitted. And the biggest message here is the average bureaucrat or cop or enforcer or TSA person, you are under just as much attack as all of us. You are on our side of the fence. There's only a few thousand top globalists. Even Rothkopf, the head of the Kissinger Group, admits that in a book he wrote, and he also wrote an article about it for the Washington Post 3 years ago called Superclass, where he openly admitted that there are 6,000 global superclass rulers. And of course, he's a mid-level servant, so he would see it from that perspective as one of the 6,000 super gophers. There's less than 20 super families, only a couple hundred master owners, and a very few at the top who have total power. And that's what these global councils have created. And it's because the globalists know how to combine forces and work together that they're so dangerous. They have a goal. It is immortality. This is their own statements. It's covered in my seminal film Endgame. Their own statements over and over again. Planetary government, control grid under environmental rationing, then controlled bioweapon plagues release that they have the cure for, the immunity for. Underground bases that they will reemerge from after we've been eliminated. Now, this is going to happen. I told you gold was going to go from 300 to 1,400 10 years ago. It has. I told you they were going to blow up the World Trade Center and blame it on their asset, bin Laden. It happened. I've told you they're going to announce a world government, World Bank. I told you that they would steal trillions in the bailout and then not tell Congress where the money went. All I do is eat, drink, and sleep and dream and pray this information. That's all I do. When I'm holding my littlest daughter in my arms, my smallest daughter, I'm trying to think about her and love her, and I do, but I am somewhere else. Okay? This is 100% happening. You understand? You are being murdered. You are being killed. You are being brain damaged. Your potential is being bent and stunted now. Let me start getting into this information. Here is Paul Watson's latest article. 2 articles today by the one, the only Paul Watson. Plandopolis, elitist agenda for eco-enslavement. I called him. We had a 30-minute consultation this morning, and I said, your article isn't hardcore enough. It doesn't give them the full magnitude. I want this article. Eco-fascists call for prison cities. He did it. These people are absolute control freak, murdering filth. And I wrote these notes I wanted to cover. First, there's an attempt to rebrand dystopia. They're lovingly taking their time destroying the human species, irrevocably wrecking humanity, the prison, school, city, state, nation, planet, the end of the family. Now, what got me so upset this morning is their brazen nakedness. There is an organization in England funded by the government that partners with The Guardian, just as The Guardian and others partnered with the 1010 group that produced the movie theater ads and TV ads, where the teacher says, okay, we're going to play it again later. Okay. Will you cut your carbon footprint? Most of the kids say yes. A few say no, and they blow up a bunch of 10-year-olds, little girls, little boys, guts and blood fly everywhere. Then it shows the same thing at a business office, at a football club, the whole thing. They know that once you don't have bedrock morals that are your own, that's why they attack anything old. May not be perfect, the way the Christian faith manifests, or the Muslim faith, or the Judaic faith, or the Buddhist faith. Doesn't matter. They attack it because it's old and it's guaranteed to have a lot more common sense than what they're doing. Like the family's good, independence is good, spying and tattling on neighbors is bad, governments that wear black uniforms are bad, just archetypal understandings. They are taking in archetypal wickedness and saying Luke Skywalker bad, Darth Vader good. They're throwing extreme things out. Torturing children in front of their parents, good. That's what the new hero does. Murdering children, good. And they're interplaying it where they can say, this foreign group is bad when they do it, but our government's good when they do it. And all the nature shows and the programs and the brainwashing in public and private schools, all of them, teach humans are bad, humans are evil, and then they get you to do something reasonable at first, a low flush toilet, no lead paint, catalytic converters. Then it's don't take a hot bath. Then it's don't have more than one child. Then it's spy on your parents for environmental crimes that aren't even crimes yet, but have them write fake tickets on mommy and daddy and write dossiers on mommy and daddy, and then have news articles everywhere where parents are in the news approving of their children, instructing them and tattling on them with government orders. Just absolute 110% creme de la creme, ultimate tyranny. The greatest expression of tyranny, children openly turned against their parents by the state. And so they're just practicing all of this right out in front of all of us. And I've mentioned this years ago. I've mentioned it previously, and it's so important. It's the Overton window. And there's other psychological schools of thought that say the same thing. The communists talked about this. Lenin talked about freezing and unfreezing society. Create enough crisis, enough fear, unfreeze the status quo. When it's liquefied, they can remold it like wet clay in the image they want, and then freeze it again. We are in an unfrozen mode right now as they bring in the tyranny. But in that open window, we can strike back, and we are. Now, another way to see it is the Overton window. The Overton window is a political theory described as a window in a range of public reactions to ideas in public discourse in a spectrum of all possible opinions on a particular issue. It is named after its originator, Joseph P. Overton, former vice president of the Mechanic Center for Public Policy, and it goes on. At any given moment, the window includes a range of policies considered to be politically acceptable in the current climate of public opinion, which a politician can recommend without being considered too extreme or outside of the mainstream to gain or keep public office. Overton arranged the spectrum on a vertical axis of more free or less free in regards to government intervention. When the window moves or expands, ideas or accordingly become more or less politically acceptable. The degrees of acceptance of public ideas can be described roughly: unthinkable, radical, acceptable, sensible, popular, policy. Well, now they've taught children in school not to have opinions, not to judge cultures like Aztecs bad, Nazis bad, communists bad, Renaissance good. So people can't judge. Then they come in, though, and say, but you've got to follow our moral dictates. Save the earth, you're bad, kill yourself, death education, the world without humans, the planet after humans, all these TV shows, all these movies, apocalyptic doom coming, everyone dead, getting you ready so that you accept it as everyone's dying around you from the bioweapon they will release. I believe bioweapons the way they're going to go. There'll be beta tests ahead of it. At least a lot of you servants of evil, when you're being killed by this, if we don't turn this around, at least when it's happening, finally you'll wake up and get right with God. And that's what matters at the end of it. And some people will survive and dig in. And then you'll fully know when the government's flying around in its drones saying, come out, we want to help you, the plague is over. You'll know that's the enemy. A lot of you'll still come out, though, even when that happens. But it doesn't matter. You'll be watching this transmission later, and I'm speaking to you in the future. And that's what matters. We can beat these people, even if they were able to carry it this far. Now you know. Now you know how real it is. All right, continuing. So what they're doing is they're just out in the open saying, we'll murder your children. They have green police ads for Audi. And then the ad agency in San Francisco, months after I told you this, came out and said, this is what we really want. We're using this as a social message that you will be arrested for the wrong light bulbs. San Francisco Chronicle. As I played that ad of Green Police, and I said, this is what they're going to do. This is their real plan. This is their program. Now they're putting out all these TV ads and videos promoting horrible dystopic futures where if you don't accept a police state control grid, you're going to be put in a ghetto. You don't accept a microchip under your skin? That's what all the transhumanists say. That's what the government says. Oh, you don't have to have the brain chip. You just won't be able to get a job anywhere. And they lay out how wonderful it is that you only get meat on your birthday, that you got to have a travel pass, that everywhere you go is tracked. And they say it with a straight face how great it is, knowing they're moving the Overton window into the bizarro. So that they pull you so far away that just having a smart meter controlling the temperature of your house sounds reasonable compared to what they're proposing, murdering school children if they don't submit. Now it doesn't sound so extreme to say, hey, we just want a smart meter in your house. That sounded extreme 10 years ago when I told you about it and people laughed, even when I had the government reports on it. Now they're going in everywhere and it's just accepted. I mean, this is diabolical psychological warfare. Now, what they don't tell you is once you're in the compact cities, those will be the final kill grids. And they're going to have the compact cities, not just in the name of the environment, but when they wipe out with genetically designed race-specific weapons, when people see tens of millions dying, those will just be the beta test. People will run into the compact cities, kind of a 12 monkeys scenario where we're all going into this. See, they're going to hit us from that. Security, bioweapon security, environmental. When you read the SPP, you learn a lot, and you see it mirrored in all their other programs, how they say every crisis, the answer will be North American merger. See, every crisis, the answer will be high-tech surveillance cities. And it's all being announced, the big rollouts, the control grids, the face-scanning cameras, multi-billion-dollar in Texas and San Antonio and outside Salt Lake and Utah, giant spy centers, cybersecurity, total control, high school recruiting of all the young hackers, armies of them to shut down free speech. I mean, they're moving in full mechanization against free humanity right now. They're going to increase the degenerative bio and chemical weapons and radiological and also the electromagnetic